Good morning, dear viewers, and welcome to Gaza Media. This is The Voice, and today is Thursday, the second day of October 2025. And in this program, we will be looking at the Cameroon election 2025, which is what is making headline now in Cameroon. And the biggest question is, where does the BLM position itself in this election of the 2025? And we will be having one of our guests this morning here in the US time, which is 8:30, and Cameroon time is around 1:30 p.m., who is Mr. Denis Nkemlemore. He's a political analyst. So he's also an ex-student of GBHS Fontaine, which is one of the pioneers secondary school, which is the pioneer secondary school in the BLM division at that time. And for over 8 years, school has not gone on, and a lot of things has happened, especially in the BLM. So we're diving into all of that. And before we dive into that, there's this big announcement. Starting tomorrow, Friday, the 9th batch of GBHS Fontaine will be having their fundraising gala. They will start tomorrow with a barbecue, and on Saturday, all the ex-students of GHS Fontaine we meet in Maryland to join the forces together to raise funds for the reconstruction and the rehabilitation of the churches from them as school are resuming, and due to the dilapidated structure where school have not gone on, they need to repair some of those infrastructure where students can study safely. Please, so join the grammar school student on Saturday, the 4th of October, that is after tomorrow, for a fundraising gala in the evening at Bowie Center Hall in Maryland. Let me bring in our guests so that we can dive into this election, where we all know that election is a mechanism that is used for to democratically to put to put a representative in the office where citizens can really choose who they think is able to govern, be it in the presidential election like the one coming on, be it in the parliamentary election, or even at the local council election. So election is a very important element, it's a very important tool where citizens use that to decide who will govern them, who will decide the future in terms of governance. Let me bring in Mr. Denis Alem for so that we can dive into this conversation proper. Uh, Yes, Mr. Denise, good morning again. Once more, last week we were here talking about GBHS Fontaine, but this morning we'll be looking at election in Cameroon and what what is the atmosphere, if I may just want to ask you, what is the atmosphere of the election going on now in Cameroon? Can you hear me? Can you
No,
hear
no, not quite.
me?
Please,
Okay, I'm
sorry.
asking, yes, I'm asking that you are
I can
welcome.
hear
And,
you now, but I
yes.
didn't get you.
Okay, what is the atmosphere of the campaign and election? I know election is about probably about a week and a half or 2 weeks from now. So, what is the atmosphere?
Of course, the atmosphere is very thrilling. Candidates are crisscrossing the country, selling their programs. The population is beefing up to be part of that election. There's a lot of electricity in the air. You can see different candidates organizing different rallies. Why one of the candidates who is incumbent is more of traveling across the world, going to Switzerland, coming back, not explaining to Cameroonians what is really his problem, that he cannot focus on us. He only receives ambassadors. We see one of the candidates trailing only with his pictures. We don't see him physically among the people who he expects will vote him. We even see that he does his own campaign by proxy. They are carrying his pictures as it's a funeral event when we are expected to see him physically. And Cameroonians are taking note of that. The situation on the ground is also the lockdown that is in the English speaking part of the country. Some people want to perturb this process. Some people want to deprive the Southwest and Northwesterners their responsibility, their right to decide who will govern them. And so the situation is a mixture of sadness because some people are crying that they have to exercise their right to vote, but some of their brothers and sisters have told them that no way, you will not exercise that right at gunpoint. And while the other part of the country will be deciding for us in the southwest and northwest because our own brothers who have denied us the right to decide our own vote. And of course, that will make the status quo to continue. It's very unfortunate. Briefly, that is the situation on the ground.
Yes, yeah, you did. Yeah, you mentioned something that people are denying their right to vote, like the case of Nozo, the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon, where they are depriving. But in addition to that, some people have expressed frustration for the regime that have been in place for so long. That election in Cameroon means nothing. So they have just decided not to even vote at all. Some are even advocating for boycotting election. What do you make of that?
Those are enablers of the regime. Anybody, in my view, who becomes a spectator in these elections, when he has the full right to participate in it, is an enabler to the regime. Because if we don't vote, we vote for the status quo. If everybody refuses to go and vote, a president will not be removed when he has not been voted out. So that is why those who are preaching boycott, those who have refused to boycott, those who have decided to stand on the line, on the fence, sorry, those who have decided to block their brothers from exercising their vote, all these people in these different categories militate for the status quo. Because, as I said, you can't remove a president except by vote or by coup d'etat.
Oh, yes, Mr. Dennis. Yes, I get the point of saying, encouraging people to vote. Now, when you look at the election now, do you think this election will make any difference? There's always some momentum. You see the crowd of youth going out there. The question that one may be tempted to wonder is, did these people actually register? Because registration period is already over. You may be riding a motorcycle, doing all holding flag, waving left and right. If you did not register, means you cannot vote. So now the
I
question
agree.
is, we may see all the momentum in the atmosphere as you described in your opening statement, but that may not really translate into the real action, which is casting the vote.
I I think that this time around is different. You asked the question whether this time around will be different. I
Yes.
say yes. I say yes. I've been in the political scene in Cameroon for long. I say yes, it will be different. And I'll give you the reasons. Even those who have supported this regime very strongly are frustrated by the fact that they voted in quotes somebody, not in quotes. If they support him, means they really voted him. Even those who have supported this regime are frustrated the fact that it is not the man they voted ruling them. They are tired of haute instruction. I don't know how that translates in English. Some people say high instructions. They are tired of the so-called haute instruction, instructions. That they
Mhm.
see a different person running the affairs of the country. Transfer of signature has been has been given to somebody whom they did not vote, an appointee who has never won elections anywhere. He's the one running the country on daily basis. They have seen that the person they trusted 7 years ago and voted is missing. We only see him receiving foreign dignitaries. And when he appears on TV, only on TV, not even on the ground, on TV, it became breaking news that you people said there have been many rumors that he had died, that he was terribly sick. And those rumors are fueled by the fact that he is not seen anywhere, neither in public doing his duties or uh, on TV. Even on TV, he's hardly seen. He doesn't receive Cameroonians. The country is in crisis for so many years. We are moving into 12, to the 10th 2016 to 2025, almost to the 10th year. He has never gone to the crisis zone, neither in the southwest and northwest. He's an absentee president. So his own strong supporters are tired and sick and tired of him. There are many things going wrong. We don't hear his voice. So that is one of the reasons why these elections this year will be different. And that is why you have seen even the religious bodies have come up and made their voice known that Cameroonians are hungry for a change. The Catholic Church, which is the most powerful church in Cameroon, that has the greatest population of followers in Cameroon, numbers of followers in Cameroon, they came up and gave a set of criteria that they would like the population would like to see a president who has those qualities, those criteria in him. And if you measure the incumbent with regard to those criteria, you will see that he doesn't even measure up to 1% of the expectations of the Catholic Church, which is the expectation of the larger majority of Cameroonians. That is why the elections this year will be different. Thirdly, key people who were enablers in this regime's government, like Issa Churoma, like Bello Baba Maigari, they themselves are tired because they themselves from the house, they say they cannot even meet their own president. They cannot even discuss with him. They have to only pass through intermediaries because he is unavailable. And the population, which the northern, the big north, what they call the grand north, that is Adamawa North and far north regions, which alone has more than 40% of the electorate. Remember, presidential election is a single constituency. The whole country is a single constituency. They alone constitute more than 40% of the electorate in presidential elections. They force their brothers who were in the opposition but who joined the government to get out of the government because this time around they cannot tolerate it again. When you have that huge chunk of population against the status quo, and down south in the metropolitan cities, Douala, Yaoundé, Bafoussam, Ebolova, Kribi, Kongsamba, Chang, Bagante, you can name the rest, Fumban, they don't want to tolerate another 7 years of stagnancy, another 7 years of backwardness, another 7 years of poverty, another 7 years of generalized insecurity. How will the election not change? Number five, more than 8 million in the history of the independence of Cameroon, since the independence of Cameroon in 1960, more than 8 million people have registered to vote. This is the highest number Cameroon has ever registered. Though it doesn't go near the potential of voters that Cameroon has, judging it from its recent population, but it is a very strong indicator. It's a very strong indicator that these elections will change. Thirdly, or six, when you see the crowds that Issa Chiroma pulls, when you see the crowd that Cabral Libi pulls, when you see the crowd that Bello Buba Maigari pulls, it's a very strong indicator. People will not come out, leave their jobs, that is, leave their jobs, failing to go to work to earn their daily bread, and spend the whole day behind a candidate in a huge rally, spend money to go to that rally to support a candidate which they will not come out to vote. And I think that if 8 million, because of the general despondency outside, because of the sadness among Cameroonians, because of the depression, because of the disappointment that the population, the Cameroonians have on this regime, and because the population, because of the how do I put it? Because of the um, acute insecurity, that this regime has proved beyond reasonable doubt that he has exhausted all his tools in solving this security problem. Out of those 8 million voters who have voter cards and who will go out and vote, if I'm going to be very generous with Bia, he will have only 1 million votes. You have to be very generous with him. That is why I'm very confident that things will change this time. And lastly, things will change this time because of the protective mechanism. Because people have, in the past, most of the elections have not favored an alternative candidate because of massive fraud put in place. The engagement of the people that has brought about 8 million voters for the first time in Cameroon. The radicalism, that poverty, disappointment has brought to bear on Cameroonians. And the fact that a group of Cameroonian civil society members and renowned international organizations have put in a mechanism that will sponsor polling agents. Because one of the problems in Cameroon was that the opposition candidate didn't have the means to send polling agents that will protect their vote where the real exercise takes place in the polling stations. Because we have 33,000 polling stations. 33,000 polling stations means that you need to have 66,000 polling agents, two per polling station, to be your witness, to be your eyes and your ears in the polling stations, to make sure that they check that there is no fraud at the level of polling stations. So it
Yes.
was difficult to mobilize that number and pay them and give them some stipend. The opposition didn't have that money. Now they have organized themselves, and the organizations that have provided the funds, they just need the list of party representatives who will be sponsored in those polling stations to make sure that elections go on in total transparency. So there are checks and balance, and there will be checks and balance at the level of the polling stations. And any party or any candidate who claims that he will do business as usual by trying to divert the vote of Cameroonians will consider that as a declaration of war, as an open declaration of war. And whatever circumstances, whatever consequences that follow, the person will be held responsible because the people just simply want to go and cast their vote and they simply want their vote to count.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Dennis, you've been talking. There are a few things that I get from what you are saying. You talk about the large crowd being pulled by other candidates, Isha Shurma, Bebre, and the rest of the people. But if these people, if you are talking like say you are sure of say about 8 million have registered to vote, and this population is spread among these candidates, because the system in Cameroon is not the system where you have something like a primary, where you conduct the first round of election for the opposition party, then the person that wins, then all the vote are consolidated for the secondary election, like in other developed world or other developed nation. In a situation where the vote may be fractioned into all these political party, they still may still be difficult for maybe to take over. But this is where I really wanted us to focus on. Where is the BLM in all of this process that we are describing here? Where is the BLM way to position itself? Be it the status quo, be in a new coming or president or whoever or whatever is happening. Given the fact that the crisis has tortured the BLM mostly, the place is almost deserted, the population count is not even there. I mean, I can just go on and on about the list. So where is the BLM going to position itself during this election?
Uh, the BLM has to position itself as a victim. The BLM has to position itself as a victim. And one thing I will tell my brothers and sisters from our God given Lebialem is that every civilized person, every person with normal senses, every person who is rational, every election is a referendum on the person you are voting out or voting in, or you vote or renewing the vote. So this election should be a referendum on beer as far as the BLM is concerned. They should look at the BLM as it is, the BLM is. What is the contribution of beer in putting us in this situation? What is the contribution in beer in removing us from this situation? If the balance sheet is is good for beer, positive for beer, they vote for him. If the balance sheet is negative for beer, they vote against him. You will be a very irrational human being if you make an analysis of somebody's balance sheet who is seeking for a vote from you. He has proven his worth not for only 7 years, for only 14 years, but for 40, more than 40 years. So you have that cumulative balance sheet. You can therefore reasonably have the best indicators whether this man is worth being voted again. And that is how I think Lebialem should position itself in this election. If Lebialem makes the error to position itself as a boycotter, then Lebialem is doomed. Because if Bia is booted out without the contribution of Lebialem in that effort, then Lebialem will be seen as people who were following the status quo, who didn't want change in Cameroon.
But what happened if
If
they vote for him to remain in the position?
If the BLM comes out and vote for him to remain vote for Mr. Bia to remain in office, the BLM is by that token, by that action, saying that they are very comfortable where they are. If the BLM is very comfortable where they are, let them go and vote for Mr. Bia. If they are very comfortable with the militarization of the BLM, if they are very comfortable with the lack of roads in the BLM, if they are very comfortable with the fact that they have produce a lot of cocoa and coffee and food stuff and it gets rotten in the village, if they are very comfortable that a huge amount of money comes to Lebialem in the form of contracts, but the contractors consume the money and the contracts that are given to Lebialem, the output, the performance, the quality of work is very poor. If they are comfortable with that, let them go and vote for Mr. Bia. If they are comfortable with that grammar school, which was the pearl of the BLM, it now has not up to 20 students because of the inability to manage a crisis which a good government could have readily managed. Then they go and vote for Mr. Bia. I am not here to tell my BLM brothers and sisters who they should vote. I am here to open their eyes to why they should think, they should put their hands on their head to think. And before they vote, they should vote as rational human beings that think critically. I hear most of our brothers and sisters who are comfortable with the regime come back and their only campaign message is vote for Mr. Bia because he appointed your brother. We want to tell them that if they want us to vote because of them, let them be candidates. Let the Lebialem man be a presidential candidate. Whether it's my party or not, I will campaign for him that the Lebialem should give him 100% vote. So that the BLM man who can appoint another man from a different tribe, and people from that tribe, elites from that tribe are governing vote in their tribe that they should vote a BLM man because he has appointed their person. Why is it that for 40 years we should always be counting on being as appointees? Can we not have somebody too who can make appointees all over the country? The Southwest has a candidate. If they want to use the tribal factor to pull votes, then we should vote for a candidate from the Southwest since it is a tribal consideration. We should not come and say that We should vote for Mr. Bia because he appointed our brother. I think a president from Southwest will appoint more of our brothers than the one from South. So if that is the type of logic they are bringing, the only campaign is that vote for Mr. Bia because he has appointed our brothers, he has appointed our sister.
But
No, this election is not about appointment. This election is about the development of Lebialem and
yes,
what development has those appointments brought to Lebialem. If those appointments were transformed into development, then Lebialem will be one of the most developed divisions in the southwest. Lebialem will not at least be where it is now. So they don't have any campaign message apart from that we should show appreciation for Bia to having appointed our own brother or our own sister. And I tell them that if we want to play the tribal factor here, let them be candidates and we will vote them for private because of tribal factor. We cannot vote a foreigner right far away from the south on the basis of tribal factor. But we can vote our own brother because on the basis of tribal factor.
yes, you talk about Lebialem development, and that's where I'm driving to. How is this election going to affect the BLM in terms of development? Also, given the fact that the population of the BLM is very shrinking, based on the data that I was just saying, the 2023 estimated data, which sometime Cameroon may use. You bear with me that the ruling party is not very different from the governance of Cameroon. So they always use that as their projected data in terms of who have the national cake or whoever have the part of the national cake in terms of distribution of wealth. And of course, let truth be told, if the BLM population is shrinking, then there's no way we can even begin to advocate for two parliamentarian seats, which we have advocated in the past. If the population continues to shrink, there's no way you can even advocate for maybe more developmental project because development will always follow where the population is. If the population continues to shrink, which is currently happening right now, then where do we go from here? Then where does the BLM really figure out itself to be to belong? And of course, I've not even seen any other party in the BLM doing any rally. Maybe the other I've not been able to see, but I've not seen any.
Yes, how will a party do rally in the BLM when our own brothers and sisters, Ernest, has stopped us from doing politics in the BLM and allow us uh, uh, to only how do they call it again? To only receive the shock of politics without being part of it. The only political party that comes to the BLM is a party protected by the B, by the Rapid Battalion Intervention, the elite military force in Cameroon. It comes with their jeeps, with their guns, with the military men, protect them. Then a few supporters of the party, they get to an area, protect them, they make their noise and go back. When it is election time, they protect them, they can make their noise and go back. The opposition doesn't have that advantage because security in Cameroon is more about the governing party than about the population, general population of Cameroon. So people are not coming to Lebialem because they hate coming to Lebialem. People are not coming to Lebialem to campaign because our own brothers have stopped us from getting the chance of listening to an alternative voice. Even though they say they have stopped everybody, but they don't have the power to stop the CPDM because the CPDM comes with the state apparatus. The divisional officer will be there, the mayor will be there, the police commissioner, the gendarmerie company commander, the big commander, all the ascent of state defense will protect them. Then they come and give us the same message that they have been giving us for more than 43 years.
And
But
don't, and don't,
unfortunately,
but hold on. Don't you think that that mechanism that you are just describing, this protective apparatus, would also be used during election time, and they will still cast their vote?
That security apparatus would follow them, obviously, to cast their votes at the detriment of the big majority of the BLM people because of our own brothers. If our own brothers did not come out and threaten us at gunpoint that we should not come out and vote, then we will have come out and voted peacefully with security. If the security is guarding even the CPDM to go and do campaigns, it is because our brothers are threatening everybody, including them. But they have a means to protect themselves and continue doing the terrible things they are doing on the division. But the people who have effected a change in the division don't have that means to protect themselves. And the irony is that they are protecting themselves against their own brothers. That is the big
Therefore,
irony there.
therefore means that no matter the BLM people vote, if they vote for the CPDM, the party, the statute code, you will not blame it on the citizen, like you were mentioning before. That if the BLM people decide and say, okay, we are very comfortable with this system, but maybe because of the insecurity threat, if they vote for the system, you cannot blame them for voting because they do not even have the means, or there's no other alternative voice, there's no other alternative party, so they vote what is available to them.
No,
You,
they will not even vote. It is the CPDM that will come and vote itself with the protection that we are talking of. And the blame is not to our mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers in Lebialem. In 2018, when I was the Social Democratic Front candidate for Lebialem, people were crying that my son, my brother, you have come at the wrong time. We have come at a time that they are stopping us to vote. They are stopping us from voting. We will have come out and voted for you massively. And so the problem, I'm not parliamentarian, not because of the population of the BLM, because of the boys, because of our own boys, our own brothers who are in the bush, who gave that ultimatum to the population that you should not be part of the decision that defines your destiny. And so I'm not blaming the BLM people. I'm blaming we have two extremists in the BLM in particular and in Cameroon in general. The military, the government which believes in military force, that every problem is a nail that has to be hit with with a hammer. And our Ambazonian brothers who are fighting for the Republic of Ambazonia, who also believe that every problem, like the regime, that every problem is a nail that has to be hit with a hammer. In between these two extremists are the innocent population that we all are. And we are forced to follow either the Amazonian directives or the state directives, the state of Cameroon directives. In the middle, we are helpless, we are victims. So we cannot, they are the ones that can decide that we will vote, and we vote. If they say we are not coming out to vote, I will not encourage a poor mother in the village to go and die, to be shot at the polling station because he wants to vote for Mr. Nkemlemo. Life is better than a vote because he can live and vote another day.
yes,
But
exactly.
I should blame those who are promoting, unfortunately and ironically, the regime that they claim they are fighting. When they disallow, when they ban different voices from joining the fight, the political fight in Cameroon, because the fight in Cameroon is political, it's not military. The problem of insecurity in Cameroon is a political problem, and it can only be solved through political solution. It is not a military problem. If it were, the gun would have solved that problem. We will not be talking about it again 9 years after it started. So if people cannot know this, you cannot be playing the same game all the time, doing the same things all the time and expect different results. The Amazonian people should know that this problem will not be solved by the gun. The Cameroonian military administration should know, the Cameroonian administration should know that this problem cannot be solved with a gun. It's a
Yes.
political problem.
Yes. Mr. Nkemlemo, the second part of my question, or the first part of my question, was that the regime in place always use the electoral register to project to be kind of a population count, or to confirm result, not really to confirm, but to say, okay, this is a projected population in this area. And of course, we know that development always follow by the population. The BLM being deprived from voting, what is the consequences? Because it will further shrinking the population that has already migrated out from the BLM. And with that migration out from the BLM, with that smaller population, then what will be the negative effect in terms of government institution, being if whoever comes into power, if the population is minute, you cannot begin to request for two parliamentarian seats, for example, which the BLM people have been advocating for a long time, because currently we have only one parliamentarian seat in the whole division, among the six divisions in the southwest region. In terms of council, local project, the council also shrink. The numbers of council reduces. Regional council, the regional council will also reduce. When this reduces, the amount of resources that will go to develop BLM also reduces. So I want you to analyze to our audience the negative effect of people not voting, of which the Republic used that as a profit to estimating the population count.
I agree. You are almost analyzing it. You are analyzing it and not really putting it as a question. And I agree with you, your analysis. I agree with your analysis that the BLM people have to be active participants in the electoral process. That is why I risked everything and was a candidate in 2018, but it didn't come out to anything because of the obdurate position of our brothers who are in the bush, who stop the population from voting. So I'm a very powerful advocate of votes, but I'm not an advocate of inflating voting numbers. As I was pushed, many efforts were made to push me to do that in 2018, but I resisted with all sort of promises that we should inflate the numbers so that the government should see that the BLM has a population and they are voting actively, and then bring development. That argument, I saw that as electoral manipulation. Those who say that, why I support massive voting in the BLM, people should come and vote massively, not fake statistics that people came out and vote when nobody came out. Why I support that massive voting is why I support it. I want to also point out that when the Social Democratic Front won the parliamentary elections in the BLM in 1997, with Honorable Professor Dobegang Michael as the parliamentarian, the CPDM acolytes, their message and doctrine was that we don't have two parliamentarians in the BLM because we are choosing the opposition. That was many years back. We don't have this in the BLM because we are choosing the opposition. And with that manipulative message, they got the Dobegan replaced with a CPDM candidate. How many parliamentarians do we have today? And we have been voting and even inflating results to show that we count. How many parliamentarians do we have today? Still one. It is very unfair to vote for somebody who, with a thick population like that, with a vast area like Lebialem, with human beings like the population as big as that in Lebialem, Alo, Fontem, Wabani, vast. They give us only one parliamentarian. And for more than 43 years, we have clamored that they should give us more. And his messengers came and told us that he is not giving us more parliamentarians because we have been voting opposition. Since how many years have we voted CPD massively? We have not had one parliamentarian added. So that argument of having an extra parliamentarian would it had not happened for the 3 years. It will not happen when Bia is at his dying bed, because this is his last. Even if he wins, this is his last mandate. That one is clear. Because he's just barely even managing to stand up and walk and preside over the destiny of the nation in this mandate that has just ended. So if he has to, by some extraordinary way, take this mandate, is the last. So if he has not given us in 40 more than 43 years, we should not be banking all our hopes on him that he will give us in the next 7 years. When he knows that he's just at his exit point, he's going him away. He will not need to come back to us again because he knows he's going. So the point I'm making is that if we want to be in a new Cameroon, active and strong in the post Bia Cameroon, let our brothers allow our sisters and brothers and parents to come out and vote massively on the 12th of October, so that when the new president comes, he will see that the BLM participated actively for the change that we have. Let us not think that we will be standing on the spot. Let the BLM not be part. They used to call us 99 cents, and I'm very proud about that, because it should be 99 positive cents. It's a wonderful thing. Let us not disturb that. Let us not make people feel that they wrongly cause 99 cents. That for 43 years you are doing the same thing with very poor results, one of the most underdeveloped divisions in Cameroon. And then you want to and go and repeat the same thing. Because a few brothers who are eating the crumbs with Mr. Abia come and tell you that you should thank him, vote to thank him because he's giving them food to eat while you are starving. Why is the population of Lebialem almost skeletal now? Why is Lebialem without people? Because of insecurity instituted in the region, as in in the Lebialem, as in many other parts of our Anglophone regions, because of bad governance, because of bad management of a crisis. We cannot go and thank them for having put us in this way. Although I am not saying that the BR regime is solely responsible for what we are going through. Let us be objective. I like to be objective. Our own brothers have contributed enormously to that. That is why I'm appealing to them that let them allow us to boot out through the vote the person who has put us in this misery, and then so that we can start discussing with a new person. For the 3 years, we have shown that he doesn't want to discuss; he wants only to fight. So maybe we want a person who has shown us that he is ready. We have seen the manifesto of many candidates, and we are happy and proud that 99 of the candidates are saying their top priority is the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest, and that crisis will not have existed. Some have said they will negotiate without any preconditions, and they will negotiate with everybody. There will be no people like the Grand National Dialogue that were negotiating. You can negotiating with refuse to put out those who were on the front fighting in the negotiating table. When you are fighting with somebody, if the time of negotiation, you have to negotiate with that person and not with another person. But the candidates in this election have said they will negotiate with everybody concerned with the crisis, and their first act will be that they will free all those who are in prison because of this crisis, and to create an environment of peace and confidence building measures, and then they will call everybody and negotiate. There will be no taboo subject. You go to a negotiation with your high points, then we meet in the middle somewhere and find a consensus that will be good for everybody because we are brothers and sisters. To me, that is a good message. If somebody refuses that message and banks on a person who feels that the only solution is to
Sorry, Tapia will have some little bit of technical issues.
show the people that he's more powerful than them, that using such a program, voting for such a program is not rational in his thinking.
Yes, yeah, Mr. Camden Moore, yeah, because I brought us this issue of the population count because based on this report that I'm seeing here, you see the three subdivision in the BLM, you have and all have over 24,000 people by estimate. Fontaine subdivision has 21,000, and Wabani have 28. thousand, a total of 73,000 people for Lebialem. You see the population here compared to other divisions, it is a very small number. So that was just my worry in looking at it in terms of development. What will happen after the outcome if we were to go by this population? I know there are other factors that has contributed to the shrinking of this population, of which you've also highlighted some of it. But I think as the Liberian people, they really need to sit up, maybe figure out a way to resettle people back in the BLM so that the population can grow again.
Yes, I agree with you there. If you read you just the statistics of the population of the BLM that you just read out, it is pathetic that the BLM, the population of the BLM is almost equal to the population of the South region. The South region. How many parliamentarians do they have? The BLM, a division, has one parliamentarian. We have been crying, we have been crying, we have been clamoring for 43 years. That is very unfair. And the same person who have denied us to give us the right to representation by yoking a very vast division like that together and putting it under one single parliamentarian, they want us to vote for him. Mr. Bia does not like the BLM, and we don't vote in votes. We don't vote for somebody who does not like you, and who does not mean you to be well, who does not mean you're good. We don't vote for somebody who is not out to encourage your well-being, your welfare. And that is why I'm saying that the unfortunate thing about Mr. Bia is that he has already shown he has a balance sheet that we will look at. So he cannot manipulate us. For 43 years, we have seen what he is capable of doing and what he cannot do. Unfortunately for him, the Lebialem people needs better. But I'm pleading, I'm begging my brothers who are in the bush, allow us go and exercise our votes. Please. The presidential election is the only period in the life of a people where the truck pusher has the same weight as the president of the republic, where a cleaner in an office has the same power to sanction like a military general, where a farmer has the same power of nuisance to recalcitrant politicians as a as the owner of a multi-billionaire international corporation. It is the only period in the life of a nation where everybody is the same. Like the Bible says, we are the same before God. There is no big man, there is no small man. During election time, all votes have the same weight. And so, when we come to this very critical moment, that each person will go and express either his frustration against the person who has frustrated in the ballot box, will express his joy for the person who has uplifted his life in the ballot box. If you refuse him that right, that is a terrible, that is considered as terrible oppression on the fundamental right of somebody to choose the one who will preside over his destiny. Our brothers should put this in on their heads and see that since this war broke out and election boycott became their modus operandi, they should remember that CBDM has improved in their results all over Northwest and Southwest more than they had ever done. So this their boycott favors those people they say they are fighting against. Let our own brothers liberate us so that we can liberate ourselves from 43 years of tyranny. Because if they don't do that, we will know that they are working in complicity in the background. We will know that they are being sponsored by the same people they pretend to be fighting. We are so angry. We have lost so many people, and so many people keep dying. The misery is so much. We are not saying that they should abandon their struggle. We don't have guns, but we have our vote. Let them fight it their own way, but let them allow us fight it our own way. Because I said in this program that the solution to this war or insecurity in the southwest and northwest is political because it was politically motivated. This situation was caused by politically bad policies. It was caused by governance, issue of governance, which is political. We decided to join La République de Cameroon, Southern Cameroon. It was a political decision, and we laid down conditions that will make the Federal Republic, the Union, work. That was a political maneuver. That was a political decision. The dismemberment of all the accords that were signed in Fumban till where we are were political actions. So we cannot leave the political field and think that will bring guns to solve a political problem. I know that guns are a way of putting pressure. Yes, they are a way of putting pressure. But if the killing, if the genocide, if the thing is this way, we should rethink. If he has not yielded fruit for 9 years, let us not be doing the same thing every time and expect different results. Let the politicians allow the politicians to get into these fights. For because I believe in the dignity of the Anglophones in Cameroon. I believe that the rights of Anglophones have been destroyed terribly. I believe in restoration of the rights of the Anglophone, that we should respect the accord that brought us together. I believe in that in a united Cameroon. And that if we allow politicians, some of us new breed politicians who have different ideas, who are not coming in because of stomach politics, if that who can ably represent Anglophone Cameroons anywhere in the Republic with a new leadership, and our voices are strong as they are today, a new leadership will listen to us and we can peacefully solve this problem.
Yes, Mr.
But
Kemdawang.
we cannot, but we cannot get to that stage if our brothers give that sentence on anybody who wants to go and vote to change his destiny to get to that stage.
So the hope is that this election, irrespective of the outcome, maybe whoever come out victorious would seek maybe look for some lasting political discourse to end this war. The suffering is too much. I mean, everybody can attest to that. I listen to other news outlets, even from the northwest, even from other part of the southwest. Is the same situation. Is similar situation. Uh, for over 2 weeks now. School are not going on because of this, which is something that we can talk on that. I think we discussed on that last week. Uh, I want to thank you so much for coming on air again, Lebialem people. You have been listening to this dialogue. This is election time. Election is on the 12th of October, about 10 days from today. People will be casting their vote. What is their fate? Now, you've spoken well uh, to our brothers, those in the bushes, those everywhere listening to us. I want to thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you, sir. The pleasure was mine.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Dear viewer, we've come to the end of this program, and uh, yeah, let me get the action here. Uh, yes. Okay, dear viewer, again, we want to thank you for listening to us. This program, The Voice, and this was we're discussing on election in Cameroon 2025 election, the election that is going to take place. I believe that is Sunday, the 12th of October 2025. And Mr. Kendamon, who is a political analyst, was here, at least with a lot of knowledge, analyzing the political situation, what will happen, especially to the BLM people, so them to sit up. At the same time, calling on the voices uh, to let the people exercise their freedom, their human right, their God-given right to vote and to be counted as a vote. As you know, the population of the BLM, which is something that we'll also touch on, is shrinking, which also have a negative impact on the development, irrespective of whoever is the president or whoever is leading the party. When the population is so swing, you cannot get much from the national cake in terms of development. So again, I want to thank you so much for listening to us. Stay tuned and to continue to follow us on our news channel. And those that have not subscribed, please, you can also leave off your comment so that we know exactly how we're doing. And Ernest Kumba being your host this morning. Thank you. Bye. and bye bye for now.